Of the Australian Under-22 National Championships. We're coming to you live from Perth, Western Australia for this matchup between Queensland and WA2. My name is Max Stenstrom and I'm joined in the booth, as always, by Annie Jessup. Annie, give us a little bit of a prediction on what we're going to see for this one.
I think it'll be an interesting game. WA certainly has a few more players than the Queensland team. I think the Queensland team might be a little bit more experienced than the WA team, but the WA team do have quite a few really athletic players, really good throwers as well, so it'll be interesting.
It's definitely a matchup of contrasts. As you say, the WA team may be some newer faces, but they have been training together across the last couple of months preparing for this tournament, whereas the Queensland team haven't had that opportunity. They've drawn together players from Townsville, from Brisbane, a few interstaters from Victoria as well, and they only really played their first bit of ultimate together this morning when they went down 15-4 to New South Wales. So we'll see how that plays out in terms of time spent playing together against time spent maybe on the ultimate field in total terms. WA will start on offense, which means Queensland will have the first opportunity on D and with the pull. And it'll be Tyson Davies to pick things up. I was lucky enough to watch a bit of Tyson's play in Adelaide earlier this year at the Australian Youth Ultimate Championships, where he was a key part of their team's run. But he can't complete the first pass. And immediately Queensland get an opportunity to go the other way. And we've got a pick call downfield. And that's Saunders, who moves the disc upfield to Max Jones. Jones, one of the Victorian imports, I should say, on this Queensland team. Saunders looks to the end zone. That's going to float up. We've got players underneath, a bit of a pack, and elevates, bobbles, and hits the turf. Jones trying to clean up the scraps, but can't get there in time.
We've got Davies picking up the disc again. He's got some really nice backhand breaks, but a huge hammer across the field and just can't hit the receiver, Kalzinski.
He saw his target in plenty of space. Kalzinski left relatively open on that far side, but the wind is picking up. It's coming right to left on your screens, and that probably caused that throw to blade a little quick. Saunders wastes no time going back the other way, looking for Jordan Hallisay, but it's cut out
by Gordon.
And Queensland
with the disc to Drummond.
Queensland look like they're playing a junk defense this point, early in the match, looking to take advantage of that wind, which will help them. If that pass goes down the line and it's gathered by Drummond, she has to go backwards. Patient offense by Western Australia. Comes to the near side to Gordon and then to Streetfield. He surveys his options as this junky 2-3-2 look from Queensland starts to close in and forces an errant throw. On lots of contact from Davies as he barrels into Hallisay, who rolls over, gets back up and flips it to his Victorian friend, Max Jones. That's the Victorian connection on this Queensland team. And they jump out to 1-0. Interesting choice starting the match with zone. Often teams prefer match coming out of the gates. What do you think the thought process is behind that?
There is a bit of wind, so I think they're thinking, they're not sure about how confident these WA throwers are, especially in this wind. So maybe they were hoping for a quick turn and a score. It wasn't really a quick turn, but they did score, so maybe a good choice.
And they're definitely looking for the quick score as well in terms of not wanting to play conservatively, not trying to play possession ultimate, certainly looking to the end zone early in their possession. Maybe recognising that with a team that hasn't had the opportunity to build a lot of chemistry, it's better to rely on athletic and skill execution rather than kind of whole team offense. It's worth noting that was a break to get things started for this Queensland team as they go up 1-0.
We've got Loudon picking up the disc here. Loudon is a really confident thrower, and I think will play well against this zone here. Loudon's got it back. That's Poolbrook there with the disc. Back to Loudon, and it's a bit, and Poolbrook keeps it. The defense must have touched it, and Loudon puts out a really nice shot to Mavlanov. WA gets a point on the board.
One of the things I love about under-22s in this tournament and this age group in particular is you get to see players that you've really never seen before burst onto the scene and show really some great skill and maturity. Loudon there, willing to play patient when it was appropriate, and then willing to take the shot when it opened up off some nice handle movement. Forehand through the gap, threaded the needle and found his teammate. So it's one apiece. Both teams scoring in this small downwind end of the field. We'll see whether it turns into a bit of an upwind, downwinder. See if the Fremantle Doctor comes into play. For those of you not from Perth, Annie, give us a little sense. What is the Fremantle Doctor?
The Fremantle Doctor is a strong sea breeze that kicks in, well, it depends what time of the year, but in summer, unfortunately, it usually kicks in quite early in the morning, so you don't get those nice waves in the morning.
Ruins the surf and can ruin some ultimate games as well.
Yep, that's right.
And maybe ruins a couple of pools as that one just sails out this near side. And Jake Cooper will take the brick. Setting up in what looks like a pretty standard looking horizontal offense. And WA playing some match. Immediately they've got two players streaming deep and neither of them generating enough separation for the shot to be taken. Cooper gets it again, looks for Jones. Big bid. But Jazz Lee, the captain, leads by example by putting her body on the line but can't reel it in early in this one. This Queensland team, only 13 players on the roster, so their fitness and physical conditioning will really come into play. Maybe not so much in this, their second game of the tournament, but certainly in the later stages of tomorrow and certainly on Sunday. Queensland get another opportunity as they go over the top. Nice hands from Adrian Fleming. She'll shoot forehand down the line, but a little too far. WA, in contrast to Queensland, will play some vertical offense. Generally the more favoured in upwind situations, I'd say. As they find the underneath pass to Wardrop. He's one of the captains of this team, and he'll inject some leadership and maturity when it's needed, and here he'll provide again. And he'll shoot deep. That one's going to pop up. He's got Tung underneath it. You can see that wind cause that to hold up, pop up, and then turn over and fade.
I love the confidence from Zia Palmer there, pointing, telling the offense what she wants.
Short field opportunity, and they won't mess around with it. As WA go from Wardrop as he finds Brown up the line. And that's a quick goal and an upwinder as well. WA 2-1 lead.
There it is again, a nice grab.
This WA team is WA2, though really they're more of an XY split. The two WA mixed teams matched up earlier today, and the difference was a 3-point margin. This team did go down, but clearly there's not a lot that separates them and the other WA mixed team. And they've certainly got the coaching talent to support them in Daniel Chang and Max Kwa, both very experienced with the cleats on and off.
So we've got Tyson Davies with the pull. He'll be looking to put it deep into the field. And it's a nice pull. Chang with the disc, looking for options but couldn't really find anything, so puts it high in the sky. And Loudon, and someone picks up the scraps. Stevenson picks up the scraps. Rogers with the disc. And just a little bit too far for Chang. WA with a chance to score.
That was some great stifling one-on-one defense by WA. Took away all the underneath options, forcing a bit of a high stall count, desperation shot, and they got the turn in the end.
And WA gives it straight back to Queensland. Peg with the disc. And Queensland give it straight back to WA. Now Loudon coming to pick up the disc, hoping to score. I'd like to see Zia Palmer take a little bit of control here. Make sure this WA point goes in. Tyson Davies, great cut. And a little bit impatient there. Someone streaking long. And a nice pick-up from Peg. A great throw and a nice catch from number 26, Stevenson.
You saw Loudon there get a little caught in between, trying to make a decision and wasn't decisive. He thought about coming in to get a look at blocking that pass there, and then you can see he has a huge deficit to make up, and Stevenson in an absolute paddock in the end zone makes it very easy for the thrower.
So we've had a timeout call.
And that's 2 apiece. Neither team able to get the better of each other early. Both teams having scored upwind as well, so it's kind of a bit tit for tat. Though no shortage of opportunities for either team.
Interestingly, Sophie Taylor, the head coach of the Queensland team, and Max Kwa, the head coach of the WA team, used to be roommates.
Roommates?
In WA, yep.
Sophie Taylor originally a product of Perth?
Originally, yeah. Yep.
There you go. Clearly a bit of roommate rivalry. Roommate bragging rights for sure. And correct me if I'm wrong, also teammates on
yes,
the Australian under-24 women's, the Stingrays.
That's right.
It's not often that we make the trip across to the West Coast, I'll be honest. We probably do it less than we probably should for a national tournament. But how much do you think this home ground advantage helps out a WA team?
I think it helps out a lot. These players, obviously, are under 22. A lot of them are at uni. They can't afford to be flying across the country for all sorts of tournaments. So having it in Perth means that there's lots of players that maybe wouldn't normally be able to play that can play. It also means that they're not jet lagged when they get here.
I guess you see that in the ability to have 4 teams at this tournament, which is absolutely awesome. And 4 competitive teams, clearly, as well. As these guys, at least early in this match, pushing Queensland. Will be Michael Saunders, the captain, or one of the captains, I should say, of this Queensland team, with the pulling duties to get things back underway after that brief timeout. He'll go the outside in backhand. WA will continue their upwind attempts, and that one will roll out the far side, which means Queensland will pin them on that corner cone, really try and remove and restrict the options available to the WA offense in this junky look. And they have to take the 2-3 metre options. We'll see whether this cup can crash in, as it does right there. Max Jones dives in front, sticks out the left hand and denies the 2 metre reset. They were looking to get it back to Benjamin Gordon. One of the downsides of that kind of offense is sometimes it becomes predictable. As Saunders now 1 metre outside, flicks it up the line. And that's an easy goal for Jordan Hallisay.
Nice easy point for Queensland. Is this Queensland's only team at this tournament?
They've also entered a men's team. I don't think they were able to get the numbers for a women's team, unfortunately, in the end. But so they've got a men's and a mixed here. And the men's Queensland team looking very strong, taking down early tournament favourites in New South Wales this morning in a nail biter. It was on Universe, and they won that. So clearly plenty of talent on that team, and maybe a few more development prospects on this one. But it's still great to see that they're getting a couple of teams across the country for this match. I should say one of the great things about playing in Perth is the fields are immaculate. I think there's someone out here each morning with a comb preparing the turf for the players to play on its very lovely grounds. Pleasure to be here.
Yeah, we're pretty lucky here in Perth. So the pool goes up, and Davies and Loudon behind the disc again. They make quite a good pair, Davies and Loudon. Davies walking it to the brick mark. And it looks like Queensland are putting on some sort of pommy zone.
I think it might be their 2-3-2 again. I've got these 2 at the front, pushing it back into the centre.
Loudon's pointing, directing traffic, and a huge hammer. Back to Loudon. Loudon, great flick over to Streetfield.
And he can't connect with his target, but we see again, really WA making quick work through that Queensland zone when they're going downwind. In that direction, they've been deadly, able to move down the field early and fast.
Oh, and a great D there.
Almost a Callahan opportunity and almost a great recovery, but in the end it ends up on the turf.
WA with a chance to score here. Davies going to pick up the disc. And an ISO has been called. And an easy score for WA. Mavlinov eating that up.
Davies with his little high release lefty backhand. Really is the new fashionable throw in Ultimate. I think, Annie, you and I have been playing around Ultimate long enough to remember when that was a really unusual thing to do, and very few, if any, players threw lefties, and these days it's almost expected.
Yep.
See, that's a great hammer from Loudon. Seeing the space over the back of the zone.
Oh, that was so close.
And that high release lefty. Cheeky.
Cheeky.
Yet effective, and it's still it's 3-all. Neither team able to capitalise on the chinks in the armour that both teams have shown.
We'll see what sort of defence WA pulls out now.
It's a big pull from Gordon. And it's just beyond the brick mark, and it's picked up by Rogers. She'll come near side, it'll bobble over the hands. Max Jones will be there to collect it though. Clean up Dugan's scraps, and he'll shoot deep. Maybe a rush of blood to the head as he saw Jordan Hallisay in space. But student athlete Jordan Hallisay not fast enough to reel that one in as he rocks the sunnies and backwards cap. It's a bold fashion choice, that one. And I'm not sure if there's much more that can be said about it. Palmer. She's been a quarterback of this WA offense, and she'll have to be some more if they want to go upwind. Nice hold by Eaton. Nice inside shot again. WA making good meters on this open side. Another lefty to Palmer, and she'll shoot long. Lovely out in front. Eaton's in pursuit. And Matthew Eaton, the spirit captain of the team, secures them an upwind score from a beautiful arc from Zia Palmer. Showing her class. Eaton doing a lot at that point. Generating early when things started to look a little static, and then providing the deep option. And Palmer really puts that on a platter for him. That's a lovely throw and made especially difficult by the wind.
Really good by Eaton to recognise that power position as well. I'm sure that most of the players on this team know how well Zia can hock it, so hopefully we'll see a bit more of that.
It's good to see teams taking the opportunity to put the disc in the hands of their best throwers and take those shots when they arise. As WA get that upwinder, they're in a prime opportunity now to get the downwind break, to capitalise on that. Loudon with the pull.
A great pull by Loudon. That was the deepest pull I've seen all day.
Been a couple of good ones that have caused trouble.
Oh, and a great D from Wardrop there. Loudon picking up the disc, looking to score. And a beautiful backhand break that was just tapped. Oh. By Jordan Hallisay.
Loudon, being the quarterback that he is, he pointed and then threw. But the point may have just given Hallisay just enough time to react, get across, and get a touch on it. And as we speak, I'm sure you can hear the winds really starting to pick up. Difficult for the Queensland offense as they go straight into the teeth of that breeze.
WA will be looking to put a lot of pressure on defense here. That was a nice up-the-line pass and a huge backhand that unfortunately was just missed by Jordan Hallisay. Maybe wasn't quite expecting that. Zia Palmer going to pick up the disc and take some control over this offense. Thea Poolbrook, great cut. Just unfortunately a bit out of her reach. And Queensland a bit deep. And that is just hitting the ground there. WA running and gunning, but holding on. Thea Poolbrook. A nice throw from Poolbrook to Kalazinski and Palmer for the score. That was great work by Palmer to recognise that.
And what really impressed me about her play that point was she had a player streaming deep straight away after that turnover, calling for it, begging her to throw the huck. But she didn't. She resisted that urge, took the easy open under, and then 4 or 5 passes later, they're rewarded with the goal. That's the kind of maturity and leadership you'd expect from a player that's played on the world stage with the Australian under-20 women and now brings that big game experience, that high-quality ultimate experience back to this team and really leading by example.
Palmer and Kalazinski have actually played together quite a bit. They've played on the Curtin women's ultimate team, Curtin University that is. So they've played a few uni games together and I think have some really great connections.
That chemistry, pretty obvious out there, often those two connecting. Poolbrook as well, doing a stack of work out of that cutting space, often the primary look, and gets things moving. So far, Queensland hasn't really been able to find a defensive matchup that slowed her down at all as Tyson Davies gets things back underway. Saunders centers to Rogers. She'll go to that far side, gets it back. Nice movement. And through the hands. Gives up a cheap one. And Palmer will pick this back up and look to go upwind. Interestingly, will send Davies out of the dump space, doesn't want to dump. Instead hits him off the front of the stack in the center of the field. Comes near side to Poolbrook. There will be a call, pick. And it'll stay with Davies. WA in a bit of a diag perhaps, or players spread out across the field with one player deep. Davies will come near side with the backhand. He's full of interesting throws. Palmer finds Poolbrook. And Davies. Those three connecting a lot, and he'll go blading forehand. There's plenty of contact on Jace Brown, but possibly well after he missed that catch opportunity, and he won't make the call. We do have game advisors at under 22s, providing perspectives and clarification on the rules, but of course they'll only get involved if calls are made. They don't make active calls.
Queensland are loving this horizontal setup, but I'm not sure that it's working for them.
They are definitely struggling to string a whole lot of passes together. Conditions aren't helping that, but credit to the WA defense as well as Davies goes that inside forehand to Tung. Tung does get a full hand on it, but the bobble in the wind made things difficult and they can't complete. Seen Davies go that inside flick a couple of times. Clearly one of his throws of choice. Whether Queensland can contain it may be a determinative factor in the outcome of this game. Saunders, he'll go express back the other way. players underneath, but Davies uses the big frame, boxes out well. Through the hands of 3 different players. Things are starting to get scrappy in this win. Neither team able to string offense together. So Palmer, no doubt, will inject a bit of maturity, bit of calm. She finds Davies up the line in the end zone and gets things done. WA build themselves a lead. They take it out to 6-3. You certainly feel like WA are almost a whole different team when Zia Palmer's on the line with the disc in her hands.
Absolutely. She's been a star this game. She's certainly got maturity beyond her years, I think. And she's on again.
That's 3rd or 4th in a row for her. Maybe Max Kwai and Daniel Chang recognising that they've got some momentum and looking to capitalise on it. Build themselves a lead now, work hard now, and then you can rest your legs later once they've built a lead that they feel really comfortable with.
So we've got Wardrop picking up the disc to pull. Wardrop actually designed the WA jerseys this year.
Oh, so we can blame it on him. No, they do look good.
Okay, Queensland. Oh, a massive bid from Eaton. Queensland moving it very quickly. They've got lots of players deep. WA just can't catch up, but unfortunately, just couldn't hold on to that. And once again, Zia Palmer picking up the disc. Massive backhand. And WA moving it very quickly. Right outside the end zone now. Centering to Eaton. Zia Palmer again. Pointing, telling her players where she wants them to go. And up the line.
Ambitious shot. I like the idea, possibly not the execution as much.
Maybe a little bit impatient there from Wardrop.
We have seen Queensland here match Jake Cooper up on Zia Palmer in a cross-gender matchup. Interesting choice. Clearly recognising that Zia Palmer was causing trouble and they're trying to find a way to shut her down.
WA putting on a really tight zone there. Queensland moving through quite quickly though. Bit of a wobbly pass, but it's picked up. And that was a nice take. Oh.
Jake Cooper. His feet got tangled up underneath him and he stumbles to the ground, clutching his calf.
I think that might be a cramp there. Cramping on day one.
Not a good sign, though, I guess, when you've got a roster of 13. Not maybe the most surprising thing that's ever happened. But yeah, he looks all right. He'll get back up, which will be crucial for Queensland. They don't have enough players to afford one to go down this early in the tournament.
It was an excellent effort, though.
What's clear is Queensland look their best when they're moving the disc quickly. When they're able to string passes together and not have to dump and swing, they're really able to get their offensive flow going.
Huge flick. Over to Mavlanov, who's just outside the end zone. Can WA put this in? Eaton. I love how this WA team communicate.
When they sneak one in there, they find Jace Brown in double coverage, but he snags it with the left hand, and that's a goal. But credit to Faru Mavlanov. 6'2", 189 centimetres tall, uses every centimetre of it to great effect there as he goes upstairs and pulls down that catch. And on the doorstep, eventually finds his teammate for the goal. And WA on the doorstep of taking half in a very commanding position. I was able to have a bit of a chat with Sophie Taylor, the coach of this Queensland team, before the match about what she and what her team are looking to achieve this tournament and how they want to play. And she said, while they don't have clear goals in terms of results, something they're trying to achieve in terms of the way they play is using everyone to their full potential, not overstating the athletic differences of the genders and believing in each of their own abilities to do different things well. And
I think that's a really nice philosophy.
It is, and we've seen that they've played exactly that way. Ali Bowden has had a couple of lovely deep throws. Jake Cooper's taken the tough matchup with Zia Palmer, just using players to do what they do best, taking advantages of the strengths they have, but they can't take advantage of the strengths that Dan Stevenson had as he got open in the back of the end zone, as that throw a little wayward and out the side. And Loudon will walk it back up. Looks like the throw never actually went in the field thanks to the big pivot from the thrower. He's got Gordon, that is, who puts that one to turf. Halisay finds Stevenson.
Loudon, huge backhand hook.
While it doesn't connect, maybe not the worst option in these increasingly difficult conditions. Play for territory a touch, get the disc down the other end, force the other team to work the full field. Gordon puts the mark on Halisay. He's got a couple of players heading to the end zone. A couple more. A lot of players very deep. Make that shot very, very hard. And you see Loudon come down with it as he brings it to this near side to Drummond. Multiple players cutting deep again. Pulbrook tries to snag that one, but she can't. So that throw goes a little behind her. She's rocking the sunglasses on the field. Not only a great cutter, but clearly a great sunglasses wearer. Queensland about 25 out. Nice break backhand around the mark. It's going to sit, but it's too far out in front of Jazz Lee. Jack Kirkby doing really well to get round the length of the mark from Tung. Pulbrook again. Not a lot opening up. Gordon working hard to provide a dump, and he does now. Goes far side to Lorden. Centers to Tung. Gordon. Now they start making some good meters. Pulbrook again, and again the throw behind her, unfortunately. She's doing all the right things, and the throws just aren't there. Saunders finds it now. We know he's a shooter. He loves to take those options when they're there. Third signs Halisay, the lefty. Lorden swats that one out of the sky. Fatigue starting to creep in. You see it cause mistakes like that one. Simple drop, and Saunders will try and capitalise. Blady forehand, but it's straight to Stevenson. Metre or two out, he pops one over the head. The bidding Jazz Lee can't hold on. Second shot to Lee in the end zone this point where they've overthrown her.
Lee's been a great cutter this game. Loudon looking for the dump. And a big backhand over to Streetfield. Hart's going deep, but there's too many defenders. Loudon. Looking to dump. Poolbrook there. A nice cut from Streetfield. And Loudon again, working so hard. Oh. And the wind just pushed that one down.
Jordan Hallisay gets on his bike, but the throw doesn't come. And now it does. So Stevenson wide open again. The man is unguardable. Bobbles, catches, Hallisay. Oh, has to stick up the left hand to pull that one down. And that's a goal and an eventual end to that marathon point. Queensland keeps this half alive. 7-4. Stevenson makes Hallisay's life hard with that last pass. Bit of a reaction. Reflexes test for him. But he passes with flying colours, and Queensland keep the difference at 3.
Gordon just gets a hand to that, but not enough. And Hallisay collapsing on the floor after that grab.
That was a long point. We've had a timeout call. Clearly recognising the need to regather and recoup after a long run like that, especially with 13 players on your roster. Must be hard work. I know you mentioned we've got a couple of Curtin University players on this WA team, Annie. Do we have other universities represented?
There's quite a few players from the University of Western Australia as well. Matt Eaton. Max Qua is still at UWA doing a PhD. Thea Poolbrook, she's at UWA. But I think most of the other ones are from ECU, Edith Cowan University, which unfortunately doesn't have an ultimate club at the moment. So
I'm sure they've sent teams to uni games before in the past.
They have. Murdoch University has also sent teams to uni games in the past, but currently ECU and Murdoch don't have active ultimate clubs.
Well, it's good to see that they get an opportunity to get out on the Frisbee field here, if not for their unis.
Definitely. What do you think Queensland can do to get back into this game?
They certainly look their best when they're moving the disc quickly. And when things have begun to slow down is when WA really starts to ratchet up the pressure and you start to see Queensland struggle. So I think they have to back themselves in that maybe fast and loose style, take those risks, but keep the disc moving and don't allow WA to clamp down. Long, grindy points probably don't work for them, considering how short their roster is, despite the fact they managed to come down with that last one.
They've put on a zone again and got a block.
Cara Dugan just jumps up and snags that one out of the sky.
Tyson Davies working really hard on the mark there. And Jake Cooper just couldn't get to that. Zia Palmer picking up the disc. To her Curtin Ultimate teammate, Kalazinski. And Poolbrook, some big fakes. Back to Davies. They're being very patient here, this WA team.
Palmer takes a shot down the line, but it's pushed out of bounds by the wind. Got to say, looks like Tyson Davies has been doing his work in the off-season. He's looking trim and athletic, and he's looking dynamic out there. He's clearly one to watch for the future. I was impressed with his play at Youth Nats, and he's clearly stepping it up in terms of athleticism for 22s. As Queensland move the disc to near the brick mark. Jones, dish back to Cooper. Cooper's backhand pops up in the wind. And he hangs his head, slumps to the ground as he clutches at his knees and wonders what went wrong.
They just seem to be rushing it a little bit, this Queensland team. That was a great throw from Palmer there. Palmer again, pointing. And Wardrop there for that nice backhand. And a little hammer. Oh. Drummond just couldn't get there. There's been quite a few hammers this game.
Saw again Zia Palmer, the one to take the shot that really opened things up for WA. Looks like we've got a foul call from Max Jones. Didn't like the amount of contact that he was receiving from Tyson Davies as he went upstairs, and it looks like it'll be uncontested and resolved pretty quickly.
Everyone's streaking past, but there's the dump. Just keeping that in there. Oh, that was a nice grab. And WA with another chance to score. We've got a fair way to go to get to the end zone. Oh, but Tyson just puts it up in the air. Wardrop running onto it. He's a big body, and he's got it.
Nicely taken over Cooper. And then the backhand out in front. And it's bobbled and dropped by Drummond. She had two hands on that one. That's an opportunity gone wanting. Maybe not the right throw in a downwind situation. Those little pop high releases have a tendency to drop very quickly, as you saw there.
Queensland again with this horizontal look. They seem to just be a little bit too deep of the disc. And Kalazinski. That was a nice pass from Davies to Kalazinski. Spotted her in the end zone and gave it straight to her.
I think it was Wardrop, actually, who threw that forehand.
Oh, sorry.
We'll get another look. It is indeed.
Wardrop.
From the brick mark. Outside in, finds his player on the near side. And that's half. They got there in the end, despite the last 2 points in that half taking a good 15 minutes. The players will take a well-earned break, and so will we. But don't go anywhere. We bring you the second half of Western Australia and Queensland from the Australian Under-22 National Championships, live from Perth, Western Australia. And welcome back to the second half from Australian Under-22 National Championships. It's Queensland and WA2 in the mixed division. We've got Max Stenstrom, and alongside me is Annie Jessup. We're keeping you company for the second half of this one. And the story of the first half has been all about WA. They've taken half 8-4 and they're in a commanding position. But you've got to feel like Queensland still has some opportunities, if not to win it, at least to make it a little more respectable. Any thoughts on how they're going to make that happen, Annie?
I think they might need to stop looking at this horizontal stack on offense and maybe give the throwers a few more options that are a bit shorter. The cutters keep streaming long for these long shots that aren't coming up, or when they do come up, they're misthrown. So maybe just reeling it back a bit and taking the easier, shorter passes.
As we get an offside call, something their coach said was they want to use everyone to their fullest potential. But I think, as you say, sometimes the cutters are asking just a little bit more from their throwers than they are capable of, asking for really difficult deep shots into the wind that aren't ever going to come off nicely. And after that offside, WA will have another attempt at this pull. If there are 2 offsides consecutively, that's when things get really interesting, and Queensland will get the disc on the offensive brick mark. The only time I've ever been unlucky enough to witness that was when my team was playing, when Fishwick played Mammoth a few years ago at Nationals in Ballarat. But back to this match, as Bowden points to the end zone, winds up that lefty, but doesn't deliver. Jones comes underneath and said she breaks the mark around, looking for Lee. And it won't connect. Lawton, about 20 metres out, tries to pass to Palmer, but he throws before seeing where she was, and they're on a different page. Now the shot comes from Bowden, arcing lefty, but arcing too much. The separation was there, but the execution on the throw wasn't. And maybe that's exactly what you were talking about, Annie, asking a little too much from the throwers.
Yeah, we've seen that deep shot to Halisay a few times now, and it hasn't come off. So they might need to think about that again.
Need to learn from those mistakes. So they'll shoot down the line. Wardrop in pursuit. He's going to milk it for all it's worth. And he makes a nice flip to Kalazinski. And that's a lovely goal from WA. As they start the second half the way they finish the first. It's 9-4. These teams traded to 3 apiece, but it's been all WA ever since.
That was a really nice cut from Kalazinski there. She did have some pressure on defense, but she managed to just fake them out a little bit enough to get that goal. She seemed very happy with that.
As she should. It was a nice effort. Something we haven't talked about at all is the gender ratios that we're playing at this tournament. It's the ABBA rule. It's pretty much the standard for a lot of Ultimate in Australia these days in the mixed division, which means it's 2 points in a row of 4 women, then 2 points in a row of 4 men, and that'll keep switching throughout the match. Davies will play some defense now. Doesn't feel like WA's got offense or defensive lines. All the players having to play both ways. Obviously in this game they played a lot more defense, but sharing the duties around.
WA putting on a tight match, and it's just missed thrown, and no one can pick up the scraps there. Davies going to pick up the disc. Halisay on the mark. Davies looking for a dump. Gowden. Oh, nice flick, but just a bit too low.
You saw the wind affect that and start to make it really blade over and fall shorter than he would have liked.
Nice cut there from Bowden. Oh, and a great grab that has been called down. Zia Palmer setting the stack there.
She's isolated in a lot of space at the front of stack, but it won't be her they look to.
A very nice throw from Davies to Brown.
It's another one for WA as they really put their foot on the gas now and pull away. Makes you wonder how much of a difference the 2 players that haven't been able to make it here for Queensland would have made. Jacob Loughnan will arrive tomorrow. He couldn't get today off work, I believe. And Olivia Carr as well. An injury in the last little while means she's missing this whole tournament. Both very capable players. Olivia Carr in particular, a very powerful female cutter that could have provided a lot of generation for this Queensland team that maybe they've struggled finding, especially off static situations. But the what-ifs don't matter. What matters is what's happening here today. And they're currently in a bit of a hole. They're 10-4 down, Queensland. It's an 80-minute game, so we've still got plenty of time. But one hell of a deficit to make up.
Got Gordon with the pull now. And Rogers is back handling. Let's see if they can take a bit of control over this offense. Got a big zone here from WA. Rogers looking for something. And a block from WA. The pressure was too much.
That was a nice look. They jammed up the lanes and then put extra pressure on the dump. And they get a very short field turn from the front of the end zone.
And Loudon to Gordon. Easy pass.
And I think we're starting to see that difference that comes from having trained together as a team for a couple of months. WA just have a little bit more in the toolkit than Queensland does, and it's a little bit better drilled. So they've got some interesting zone looks. They've got disciplined end zone offensive sets, and they're using them to great effect.
I think the wind is also having quite a big impact on this Queensland team. They don't seem to be that confident, but maybe, again, that is just because the cutters are so deep. I know that this WA team have trained quite a lot in the wind, so they might feel a bit more comfortable.
It's by no means a gale, but it's definitely enough that players need to adjust. And as you say, that experience in the conditions can be all the difference that's required in a tight game.
Tyson Davies checking that the wind's still there. And looking for a big pull here. And it is. It's a really nice pull. That's going to make it hard for Queensland. Bowden picking up the disc close to the sideline. A big backhand. And the receiver just wasn't there.
I think she was looking for Jazz Lee, but just didn't have the juice on that throw to make it happen. And Davies will get to march this all the way up to where Bowden was when she unleashed that. And at this stage of the game, having watched what we have, I'd almost put money on an inside-out shot from Davies.
Oh,
but I'd be wrong.
At that Davies to Palmer connection.
It's a goal. Beautifully effective. Palmer, not only a great thrower, but uses her height well. And in that situation, though she doesn't get on the first look, able to recover comfortably. Forces her play to go up as well as she leaps. WA scoring quickly now. They've accelerated the pace of this match. They look to get this one done, get their feet up and rest. It's a packed schedule in this three-day tournament. So finding opportunities to finish games quickly and conserve energy can make a real difference come late in Saturday and Sunday.
Let's see if Queensland look to do something a little bit different here. They've got some fast cutters on the line. They just need Need to be a bit more confident with the cuts to stop running away from the disc and go and get it.
What I do wonder about this Queensland team is just how much better they'll be come Sunday afternoon than they are right now. As there's plenty of contact between those two, and it's an uncontested foul as Becca Chang gets barreled. She'll get the disc marked by Palmer. Chang looks up field, but can't connect with Adrian Fleming.
Loudon. Zia again taking control, but just not executing that throw.
Chang holds on to that one well. But Fleming can't hold on to that and get another opportunity for WA. Prime goal scoring position, disc in the hand of Loudon. Sees Poolbrook, one of his favourite receivers.
The captain of the team, Poolbrook.
And you can see why. She's the kind of player that a coach would love. You know, she's not out there playing in a way that's trying to pad out her stats or get the glory for herself. She's doing all the little things right, working really hard, just generating cut after cut after cut. Really never turning the disc over, being an indispensable cog in the WA offense, and she's rewarded there with a nice easy goal. And it is now 13-4. WA closing in on points cap of 15. At this stage, it looks pretty unlikely Queensland are gonna come back and take the actual victory. But what do you think a team like Queensland can take away from this match?
I think they can take away a few things about their offense mainly. Maybe before each game, making sure that they're getting those throws in, getting used to the wind, getting used to catching in the wind as well. I'm not sure when most of these players flew in today, but it might be a bit of jet lag or tiredness. Maybe they're still getting used to the field, but I hope and believe that they will be much stronger tomorrow once they get used to each other a bit more.
They have heard your suggestion to can the Horo, though, as they pull out a side stack. Does get them some movement, if not a whole lot of territory. Bowden and Jones playing give-go on that far side of the field. Bowden in power position. And Jack Kirkby lasers a forehand 6 inches off the ground, but it's well beyond Becca Chang.
Bowden's been a really solid handler this game. Really safe hands and putting lots of spin on the disc, which is exactly what you need in these conditions. Wardrop going deep, and Davies seeing that. This WA team do have height on the Queensland team, which always helps. And I think the WA team also know how to use their height. Which has made it pretty easy for them.
And that disc will come back due to a pick call, but they've worked it nicely up the field. Davies got things moving with a long, deep option, but after that it's been dump swing, hit the under. He saw a nice inside break there from Wardrop before it got called back. And there's a huge break side lane that he might look to use. Instead he goes to Davies. Couple of meters out, lefty, Wardrop in the front corner, will not be denied. And Western Australia are on the doorstep. It is 14-4.
I think Max Kwa and Daniel Chang will be very happy with their team at this stage. It did look a little bit clogged up in the end zone then. So maybe that's something they can think more about when they get to the end zone, to take a breath and get those cutters in the place that they need to be.
And Queensland yet to score in the second half. WA took half 8-4. And it is now 14-4, 7 points later. Well, 6 points later, I should say. So the legs and depth of WA perhaps being a factor in the back half of this match. Queensland not able to keep up their intensity or their level of play. Whereas Western Australia, if anything, have just improved over the course of this match.
Let's see if Queensland can put another one on the board. Gordon with a nice pull. Halisay streaking deep straight away, but oh. We've got Gordon picking up the disc, using that huge pivot to get around the mark and straight into the hands of Mavlanov. Oh, but there's a call, an injury call. Dugan walking off the field. Hopefully it's nothing serious.
Rogers will come on and replace her. And that could be a significant loss to Queensland if Cara Dugan is out for more than just a little while. With 13 players on your roster, every player difference severely impacts the amount of game time each player's got. Game advisors did get involved to provide some clarification on the rules and what happens next. The disc will come back in on two.
Gordon using that big pivot again. Passing it to Drummond. And Zia Palmer shoots a nice flick straight to Streetfield.
And that's a game. Western Australia closed that one out in emphatic fashion. Things looked close to 3 apiece, but from there, the story was all Western Australia, and in the end, 15-4. I mean, that is domination on the Frisbee field. Any final thoughts, Annie?
Yeah, I think WA have done a fantastic job this game. Their players have really stepped up. Zia Palmer, Luke Loudon, Tyson Davies, they've all been really solid this game. Yeah, I hope that Queensland find their connections throughout the weekend, and on Sunday we see them as a much stronger team.
I'm sure we will. And that will wrap up our coverage for this game from Australian Under-22 Ultimate Championships. But don't go anywhere. There's a couple more to come today, and then plenty more for the rest of the weekend. It's been a pleasure joining you. I've been Max Stenstrom. I've been joined by Annie Jessup. We'll see you next time.
Alti.tv